Welcome back. We're here to share part two of tonight. My second guest tonight is, of course, my bishop, Bishop Don W. Maddox from the Church of Deliverance here in Winston, Georgia. I wanted to invite him out tonight so he can share his story. Bishop has a story from some years, and I want to share some things. He's going to share some things with you about how God has delivered him from some things that have been going on in his life and how the church is going. So I just want to welcome my bishop tonight, Bishop Don Maddox. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Bishop, I've been knowing you for about, I guess, 6 or 7 years. Something like that, maybe a little longer. But tell everyone, okay, first of all, let's get to this. The church got started, what, about 15 years ago?
About 15 years ago.
Okay.
We were in the bottom of the Douglas County Star Hospital, basically, at that time.
Okay. And from there you moved to
We moved to the mountain top because we were in the process of building where we are now.
right.
And we were there maybe 2 years.
Okay.
In that process.
Bishop has a church right now that's on Campground Road 2387, 2837 Campground Road in Winston, Georgia. That's where he is. He's my pastor. And you know, before I came to the ministry, Bishop, something happened to Bishop, and it was devastating. And for a minute there, people didn't think that he was going to live. But because of God, because of the miracles that God can do, he's here today, sitting in front of me with all the faculties available God has given him. And we're so appreciative of it. Because I said a statement before I came, I said, I'm not coming there until I know Bishop is back, because I know how people are. Right? But I wanted to make sure that he came back and he was in good health. And honestly, he waited so many years for some things to happen in his life, and God began to do that. God has worked a miracle in his life. So I want you to listen to his testimony and understand what God has done and what God can do. Bishop, tell us about how this all started.
2006, the church was going great. We had moved into the new facility where we are now. We had began to buy additional properties. One week I started to feel kind of foolish, didn't think nothing of it, just passive, continued to preach. It got worse. I began to just break out in sweats and just knew that something was not right. Continue to preach, because I believe that no matter what, God will provide.
Right.
And He continued to give me strength. But after the services, I was so exhausted I couldn't hardly function 2 or 3 days. Went to the hospital, went to my knee doctor because I have bad knees. And he said, Don, I don't think that it's a knee problem. I think you need to go to the hospital because your knees are swollen, but it doesn't show any type of arthritis. So when I went to the hospital, the doctors came back and they got it was in a huddle, and immediately they came into the room and they said that my organs were shutting down. I didn't know why, because all I remember was I had severe pain in my leg, and the pain was so bad that no matter what they gave me, it would not go away. They could not give me any more morphine because they said it would kill me. So they continued to do tests, and I actually had gone to the hospital for a week, and they noticed a huge patch of infection that was sitting on my bone, that was stopping my bones from making bone marrow, making blood. So my hemoglobin was really at 6 at this particular time. Very dangerous for driving, but I was still driving by God's grace.
By God's grace, yes.
And so when I went to the hospital for a week, seemed to get somewhat better. They were treating me with gorilla antibiotics that were supposed to attack the infection and reduce the pain. But in the process, it was actually reducing my kidney function because the antibiotics were so strong. I went home. I could walk fairly well, but my legs were just swollen so bad, they continued to swell. And you could see that the inflammation was just getting worse and worse in my legs. About a week, 2 weeks later, I started having problems walking. So I had another appointment to the doctor. My daughter was really concerned, sleeping, that they shouldn't have allowed me to come home. In the bathroom, when I was getting ready to go to my physician, I failed. I thought I had a stroke, and so I couldn't get up. And my wife Cheryl helped me to the car. Actually, I actually just grabbed everything I could to get to the car. Once we got to the car, the parking lot, people in the parking lot had to take me out of the car. Didn't know what was going on. And so the doctor immediately saw me, and they immediately put me in the hospital. The inflammation was affecting my nervous system, and the poison that was soon to find out from the spider bites was affecting my neurological system.
What kind of spider?
It was a brown recluse.
Brown recluse spider?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Oh, where did it bite you?
Right here, my inner thigh. And it was just sitting there, the poison was just sitting there. And it became obvious when I got to the hospital because it was like a brown circle. And during the process, of course, I developed thrash, because, they didn't know why I was not eating. But my throat was like a baby's thrash. It was full of thrash, so I couldn't eat anything. I went from 195 over the process to 145. And in the hospital, it was 3 weeks before they realized what was actually going on with me. At that particular time, I'm paralyzed. I can't even walk. I can't feed myself. They ran every test. They tested me for cancer, every disease. It comes back normal until they found out after the 3rd week that I had been bitten by that spider.
And I understand that the doctors talked about amputating.
Yes, they did. The doctors was concerned about the inflammation getting to my upper organs. So they had discussed, they came in one night and I was lying in the bed and they said, Don, we're going to fillet your legs open. And it was like a joking manner. And this time I'm delirious. I don't even hardly know what they're talking about because I'm on so much pain medication. Because the pain you actually felt like you were actually losing your mind. And then the questions, if the enemy comes to sit in and say, you're a preacher, why are you, going through this horrific state, And if your God is who he says that he is, then he will come and see about you. But the Lord had already reminded me that he would never leave me nor forsake me.
Never leave you.
So he had already established that before I went into the hospital. And my faith was strong. My faith is strong. And my brothers came to me and they said, Don, if this is going to save your life, then you need to allow them to take your legs off. And I told my brother, I said, no, I have too much to do for the Lord. The Lord has given me a great vision, and that vision is incomplete. And God is not incomplete. And he will not allow the enemy to come and steal what's not his.
Right.
And I am not the enemy's property.
Right.
He said, so you're going to sit here and tell me that you're going to not allow them to proceed with the surgery. I said, that's exactly what I'm saying. So my wife was on the corner crying, of course.
I know I made her say, yeah.
And so my mother, she was concerned. But, I look at, and this is my, I guess, a voice to people that have no faith. But at some point, your faith, if you do have faith, is going to be put on trial.
Oh, yeah.
As Peter talks about.
Yeah, it says your faith must stand.
Yes, sir.
But your faith will stand trial also.
That's right. That's right. And I believe that none of us are exempt from going through challenges. But it's how we see God when we go through that challenge. And at this particular time, I can't hardly talk. So I'm telling my wife to talk to me and tell me good things because my mind is so unbalanced because of the Benadryl and the 3 blood transfusions that they've given me, and they're praying over the blood to make sure that there's no diseases in the blood. and the room was constantly full of prayer. The hospital had actually nurses were praying around the clock for me, so there were prayer warriors in the hospital. God knows how to send people at the time of need. And he sent those people to intercede on my behalf when I couldn't intercede on my own. People that came from as far as foreign countries, Italy and some of the nurses' husbands that were pastors from foreign countries came over to see me. And they laid hands on me and prayed for me. Well, at the day of the surgery, the people, the doctors come up and they say, "Son, go down to the OR." And this is a critical state because you can either choose to go one way or go the way God is leading you. Well, I believe that if you're going to walk by faith, you have to walk it out. If you're going to claim to be a faithful believer, then at some point, you've got to walk beyond what you see. And what I was seeing was horrific. But I was willing to stand on God's word. I was willing to just believe that he was not finished with me yet. So I chose to deny the surgery. I refused the surgery, and of course the surgeon was upset. He looked at me and he said, "I don't understand why you're doing this." He said, I said, "You're going to fillet my leg open in the front and the back. You're going to clean my muscle, and then there's nothing left. What are you going to do?" He said, "Well, probably put your leg up, because there won't be anything left after we clean the muscle or the infection." I said, And the first thought came to my mind was, don't do it. God's got your back.
God's got your back, right.
And I turned to him and I said, I'm going to refuse the surgery, and you can go back to the OR and tell them I'm not coming. And of course, my family was not in agreement with that. But I believe that when God gives you a vision, and that vision is for a tremendous purpose, the enemy comes to sabotage. Right. And so when I refused the surgery, there was a space there. It's amazing how the enemy will come and talk to your mind and talk to you personally,
right,
to make you feel like you've made this huge mistake.
The wrong decision.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
And so 2 hours later, the doctor comes back, and he said, "Mr. Maddox, I'm so glad that you didn't allow us to put your legs out, because we think we found a solution to your problem."
Yeah, we give God praise for that, but I know that. We thank God for that. I'm telling you, and I'm so grateful, because when I first got there, if some of you don't know, but I saw a picture of Bishop when he was first stricken with this problem, and he was so frail. I mean, when your flesh is meeting your skin, that's how thin he was. And it broke me down into tears right in the office. I mean, I couldn't take it. And I'm so grateful to God that he has worked a miracle, because people don't recognize miracles happen every day. Yes. But sometimes we just need to see a miracle. And that you are. When I look at you, when people don't know it, but when I look at you, I see a miracle. It lets me know that God, is still working miracles. Yes. Once you see him preach, I'm still waiting for Bishop to dance, because we were at Flat Rock just the other night. He got behind that pulpit and got to move it up and down like that. I said, if he run, I'm gonna run with it. But it's good to know the fact that you still have your strength. Yes. I did some research on a brown recluse spider, just to see what it does. A brown recluse spider eats away, the poison eats away your skin, eats away at you, and it causes the poison so strong that it goes through your. And when you said that you were feeling symptoms, but see, most people don't feel symptoms like that. That's right. For that long. No, they don't. And wake up from it. No. Come on, somebody. No, they don't. I ain't trying to preach, but I'm just telling you. When the brown recluse bites you, from that point on, you don't have so many hours or days to live. Days to live.
And the skin actually starts to rot.
Remember,
this is the amazing thing. This is how awesome God is that the skin where I was bitten never deteriorated. they said that the muscle on my thigh my whole thigh was dead due to the poison. But the skin, normally they have to cut around the area to reduce the deterioration of the skin because it just died. But the skin never died. Never died.
See, that scripture, y'all. If you're in Christ Jesus,
Yes, sir.
you will never die.
That's right. That's
And
right.
see, that's just the beginning right there.
That's right.
That the skin didn't even start dying.
Never died.
And even after we pass on, we still
That's right.
don't die.
You know, the pain that I was feeling,
Uh-huh.
the pain, you know, Jesus, you know, died on the cross for our sins. And God continually reminds me that the pain that I felt then is nowhere to be compared to the pain that Jesus suffered for our cause. And then even after that, you know, my kidneys have been reduced to the point now that the doctor comes in and says, you know, it's like the enemy is taunting me now because the doctor says, okay, yeah, you're over this hurdle, but because your kidneys have been affected by the antibiotics, you're going to have to go on dialysis. Right. He said, so I hope you've lived a full life because now you're going to be restricted to going to dialysis 3 times a week, and you probably won't be able to function. You probably won't be able to do anything because you're going to be so weak from the dialysis.
Just to let y'all know, just to let y'all know, Bishop was on dialysis for
5 years.
5 years,
Yes,
waiting on the kidney, and tell him about the kidney, Bishop. I just want, because, see, I was going to give him one of mine, because I know he can live with one. But see, my condition, you know, with my blood pressure and stuff, you know, you can't do that. They wouldn't take me because I had, you know, heart attack or so they said, with your blood pressure, you can't give a kidney, you know, so I was disappointed, but we waited.
yes, sir. In the process of waiting, God took me to the dialysis center for a reason. What I began to realize and understand is that place is classified as end stage. End stage means that that's the end of your life, basically. But the Lord said, I have a plan, and I want you to minister to the people that's here while you're in here. 95% of the people come to the dialysis, you know, ambulance, or they're driven by someone. They either leave in a wheelchair or they're lying on a stretcher. But God graced me so kindly to be able to drive myself to the center. And then after the treatment, drive myself back home. And then preach on Sunday morning.
And after 5 years, you got your new kidney.
I did. I got it the week that my daughter was getting married.
Right, but I did the baby girl, I call my baby girl, I did her wedding, you know, because Bishop was in the hospital.
Yes, sir.
And she said she was going to go right along with that wedding.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but we did get a phone call, you know, because he was going through and he got his kidney. So I'm telling you, Bishop, if people say miracles don't happen, all they need to do is come to 2837 Campground Road.
That's right.
And sit back and listen,
Yes, sir.
and watch a miracle. Give the word.
You know, Reverend, what we realized and what we try to promote in deliverance is that we're not just textbook people. Right. You know, it's one thing to be a textbook individual, know the word, but when you live it and you see it manifest itself, right, it takes on a total different meaning. Right. And that's what God wants us to do. See Him who He is. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I thought about saying, sometimes, you know, God allows things to happen in your life so He can get our attention. Because I've had some things happen to me where, you know, you never think these things would happen, but God allows things to happen so He can get your attention. And I know, and this past Sunday, I heard you say some things, and I knew God had gotten your attention, you know, because you said, Lord, I'm sorry for what you told me to do, and I didn't do it. Well, and you said, I'm sorry. My heart, my mind,
Right.
just fell in place with that, because I said you had a vision, and sometimes, I'm not saying that's happening, but sometimes we'll have a vision, and we'll allow things to distract us from our vision. We'll allow people to distract us from our vision. We allow circumstances to distract us, to distract our vision.
Right.
And God says, hey, I need to get your attention. You know, and I'm not saying that situation was an attention getter. But my thing is, Sunday was so miraculous.
It was. It took me back to 1994 when God called me to preach. And He began to show me revelation after revelation, prepared me for where I would go. And some of the things that He shared with me, I've never really shared them with a lot of people because I was afraid of the way they would look at me. But the vision that God showed me was so tremendous. Took me to the uttermost parts of hell and places in Jerusalem. And I didn't know what they looked like until I began to see the pictures. And I said, God, I've been there. You know, He had showed these to me in a vision. And so the things that He had instructed me, as I began to do them, I began to be ridiculed because of the background where I'm coming from. But the Lord said, don't worry about the people. Be more concerned about what I'm instructing you to do. But through the process of building the church and then getting sick and all those things and dealing with things in my own personal, in my mother and father, dealing with those issues, you sometimes can get off track and lose sight of the true vision. I didn't lose track of the vision of the church, but I lost track of the vision for God had given me personally. Because whatever He gives me personally is truly going to affect the church. But I lost sight of some things, and God had birthed the healing ministry. I'm like, you know, why are you going to birth the healing ministry in me and I'm not sick? You know? Yes. And so everything that I uttered out of my mouth, I had to go back and say, okay, Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for saying that. I didn't mean that. And everything that happened Sunday was like a rebirth. Taking me back 20 years to show me where I got off course. And not that I was living wrong, it's the fact that it's just some things that He wanted me to do and be a part of that's beyond the traditional church. It saddens me that when people walk in the church and they just have church and they leave with all their diseases and they leave with their heartaches and their pain, when the Lord has shown me truly that He can heal anything from anybody. Being in dialysis, I've seen people with all types of illnesses, but I've also thanked God daily for not becoming bitter. Because, you know, when you carry bitterness around your heart, it contaminates your whole entire being. And I thank God that I'm not bitter because of what I went through. I thank God I'm not bitter because I can't run like I used to, but I give God the praise for sustaining me to be where I am today. And last Sunday was just awesome and
you know, every when I look at you, you know, I think about the story of Job. Don't be slave. That's what I trust in, you know, because when things happen to me, I look at when like that, I say, well, Lord, you chose me because you trusted me that I could do this, that I could go through this. You know, because He says, have you tried my servant Job? God said, you know, and you know, God says, have you tried my servant God? You know, and see, and to me that is like, God thinks that much of you, much of us, right? That He will allow the devil, because He said, I ain't worried about them. He's not gonna quit. And you don't mind me calling, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying that's what He's saying. I'm not worried about it.
right. You know, sometimes when we go through different things, it may not be directly for us. It could be for people around us. Because the Lord knows who we are, and He knows that every man is given a measure of faith. My faith was strong. It was unshakable faith. But when things like that happen, when you know that you can't walk and you're going to have to be carried around, that's when you have to go back to His Word and remind Him of His Word. And that I did each day. I had to go to Psalms 103 and read that psalm over and over and over till it becomes a part of you. I had to read Psalms 27 Psalms 46, Psalm 91, all those Psalms, I had to read them to keep my mind regulated.
Right.
So the Word does work.
Oh, yeah.
And so you see so many issues coming into the church now that we don't realize that the same power that Jesus, and that was a vision 20 years ago, that the Lord said, I want you to walk in a likeness of, you're not a Benny Hinn, you're not a Benny Hinn,
Right.
but you're Don Maddox.
Right.
And when God called me audibly off my bed and gave me instructions, it made me fearful. I just have to be honest with you, because I saw the task too big for Don. But I wasn't mature enough to understand that it wasn't me that would do it. It would be the God in me that would carry it out.
You know, that's why I said it's called Church of Deliverance. Yes, because that's what it is. There's a deliverance going on at the church. Yes, and I just want to just talk about, we have a wonderful choir. Yes, wonderful set of musicians, and I'm one of the musicians. Yes, sir. Yes, so, and Bishop calls us the pit, because we do play. That's right. You know, we do have a good time over there. And Bishop, before we go, I just want to just take a look into the camera. If my camera people will get a good look right here, this camera right in front of you, and just tell the listening audience about Church of Deliverance and what God can do and what He will do, and how they need to have an experience with it.
During my process of going through these illnesses, before I went through the illness, I took a course called Experiencing God. And the one thing that people are naive of they're going to church, but they're not experiencing God. And so the Church of Deliverance, when we first moved into the church, it was Deliverance Baptist Church. But the Lord laid it on my heart to change it to the Church of Deliverance. Not for any other reason, not for no stigma or anything. It's the fact that He wants the people to know that He is the ultimate deliverer of all generational curses, all diseases. And so that's the format that we walk in, is that the same way that God used Peter, Paul, and all those individuals, those apostles, we walk in that likeness. And God has anointed us to walk likewise because He's endowed us with that power. The Church of Deliverance mission is to go wherever, to whomever, to do what God has called us to do, and that's bring deliverance to the house. And when you walk in deliverance, you will feel the presence of God there, because we have true intercessors. We have a great choir that worships God, that ushers in the presence. And on Sunday morning, you'll come and I'm not saying we're the only church, but what I am saying is that when you come to the Church of Deliverance, you will not leave like you came.
Amen. And just to let you know, Bishop's daughter is going through, but God has killed her.
Yes.
Amen.
He has killed her.
Yes.
Of cancer.
Yes, sir.
Come on, somebody.
Yes, sir.
So don't tell me what God won't do. Hallelujah.
We'll be preaching a trial sermon, both of them, so at the end of here. We'll be preaching that trial sermons very soon.
Good, good. Yeah, we're gonna hook the camera right on up. You know, I just wish we could live stream so people could hear it.
We'll try and work that
We're
out.
trying to work that out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Bishop, I thank you for coming out. I thank you for being a guest on my show.
I enjoyed it.
You know, this, we don't have a big audience, as you see,
That's okay.
but that's okay.
The Lord said, don't be despised of small beginnings.
Small beginnings. That's what He said. Keep it straight, Bishop. That's what I'm talking about. Don't despise small beginnings.
No.
Because it's soon to come.
That's right.
I thank you for coming out. I thank you for being my bishop. See, a lot of people, have bishops and pastors, but I can say my bishop and my pastor is also my friend. We've been knowing each other for a minute. And I call him, ever since I've been there, every shepherd has a sheepdog. So I've put myself in as a sheepdog.
Well, I just want to say
Yes.
we'll be celebrating our 15th anniversary this coming weekend.
Okay.
15 years.
That's right. Out of the church.
Right.
15-year
15 years.
anniversary.
Right.
Amen. And just let y'all know, I know y'all who didn't catch the first part of the show, today is my birthday. I'm 62. Sit down now. I hurt myself when I stood up. But don't forget, this Sunday, if you can come to the Church of Deliverance for our 15th anniversary, church anniversary.
Right.
And when is your anniversary, Bishop?
That is actually it.
That is your,
That
that's
is
the
the
good
anniversary. That's pastoral
pastoral anniversary
Yes.
coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, the church
Usually
anniversary.
the 3 white crosses on top of the hill because sometimes people will
Right.
stand around the road.
Yeah, if you come up Bankhead, Highway 78, you'll see 3 crosses on the hill that were put up there. And if you'll also see the top of the church. That's the church behind the crosses. And it's on 2837
Right.
Campground Road. You cannot miss it. If you have any questions about how to get there, call me. I'm one of the associate ministers at Church of Deliverance. I'm Minister Douglas Level. My number is 404-910-6724. You can also email me at douglaslevel@bellsouth.net. You can go to my website, which is iLevel Productions, or you can just, I can't give you Bishop's number, but you can call, I can't give you my wife's number, so let's see, what can I know? Email me, text me, call me, however you need to do it, but make sure you get a chance to visit Church of Deliverance and get an understanding of how God is moving in the ministry, how God is healing in the ministry, how God is blessing in the ministry. He's delivering in the ministry. You can come and see it. I'm not saying we're the only church,
No.
but we are one of the good churches
We're one of the churches that God is using at this time.
at this time.
And to take us, Reverend, from a hospital
Yes.
and set us on 6 to 7 to 10 acres, 17 acres of land, right there is nothing but an absolute blessing.
I know that's right, Bishop. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Give our bishop a hand. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching Care to Share. Remember, watch the show every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We are live streaming video from Tinseltown Studios here in Douglasville, Georgia. The address is 5837. I believe it is 5387 Fairburn Road here in Douglasville. And next week, hopefully I'll have more guests for you. But there's a young lady who I want to get on this show. Her name is Sophia Andrade. She has a testimony within itself. Sophia, just a thought before we close out. Your testimony is about what happened?
Actually, it's a nonprofit that I'm starting up in regards to the mugshot companies.
Okay, the mugshot company is right. She had an incident that happened to her. Was it to you?
Yes.
Yeah, about mugshot. About where she was arrested or something like that.
Yes, for 24 hours and had just the series of events that have taken place from there that I was instrumental in getting the law passed here in Georgia.
Okay, yeah, and it's about the mugshot. They take your mugshot, Bishop.
Okay.
And they end up putting your mugshot on the internet. And the law is passed now, they have to take it down.
Well, the law is passed that they can't charge,
They can't charge
but
you.
they're extorting a lot of innocent people on their sites.
Okay,
Trying to get them, in order to take the mugshots down, they require a mugshot removal fee.
Oh.
And it's just ongoing, it's lost, there's so many companies of them, they're like, the last count I count was over 60 companies, they're just popping up over the internet. And they're, at this time they're legal, because there's no public records when you get a mugshot done. Getting them off the internet is just.
so we're gonna have Sophia on the show, so she can actually talk about it because State Representative Roger Bruce is very instrumental in helping with that. There's something I want to talk about, even before you go, Bishop. Okay, is Will Smith, is Will still here?
I think there's something.
Okay, because there's an incident, I don't know if we can see that, it's a Douglas County, and I just want you to be careful about it.
Okay.
And I'll give you kind of a gist of what happened.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna put the lady's name out,
Okay.
but she lives in Douglas County. And she said that was justice for Trayvon Martin. She's a Douglas County, in the Douglas County School District, right? In the Douglas County School District. And she said what happened to Trayvon Martin was justice. And I think there's something that she said, let me read to you. Trayvon Martin's death was justice, not a tragedy, and should by no means be honored in any way, shape, or form. George Zimmerman is a patriot and hero to himself and others for the right to bear arms along with self-defense against a vicious attack. I would have fired every bullet into Martin myself if I was in Zimmerman's shoes. That needs to be addressed. I don't care how you look at it. She's in Douglas County, and I'm saying she's on the Douglas County. Oh, Will, thank you. Do you want to come up and just address? I mean, that's.
I told you not to do this.
No, you don't have to. But I mean, do you want me to just address it from where you sit?
That's all right.
Okay.
Basically what happened was,
Let me. Come on.
all right. Basically what happened was the whole thing is actually highly inflammatory. But these parts came from a friend of hers that she shared out into the Facebook population. Now, everyone familiar with Facebook understands that if you share something, that means you agree with it.
That's right.
Now, the problem is not a black-white issue. It's not a black-or-white issue.
Right.
This is a right or wrong issue. You cannot have faith that she can impartially discipline, teach, and educate our kids if she's going to send out stuff like this into the atmosphere, into the universe. So that's the problem. The problem is she's violated her public trust. And that cannot continue. We cannot do this. This is not the little girl first day in Arkansas. This is not those days. These teachers have to be held accountable for what they do because we entrust them to educate our children when they're away from us. We can't believe that that's a safe, wholesome learning environment if they're subjugated to people like this.
That's the attitude of the teacher. Yeah, that teacher.
And now, so from what I understand, she hasn't been in school since it started so far. So I'm not sure if that's exactly a suspension or not. But anyone who circles their wagons around her basically agree with what she's saying. And if they're in public office, then they have to do like she has to do, step aside.
Exactly.
That's just it.
You know, so just to let you know, we need to recognize the fact what's going on. That's why I'm not asking everybody to get on Facebook. I'm just saying, but what you do read on Facebook, what you put on Facebook, be mindful that people do read. And if I read it and I disagree with it, and my thing is, it makes me wonder about what kind of education our children are getting, or who's being taught. Okay? So my thing is, we have to recognize that this is just blatant wrong to be put up like this. If it's your thought, that's fine. But to address it in this type of manner, that's not good. You know? And so, that's why I want to share on this, because there are things that, you know, sometimes needs to be, you know, brought from a ministerial standpoint or from a, you know, from a public standpoint, from an internet standpoint, that we just cannot go along with.
Right.
And that's just one of them right there.
Right.
But Will, I thank you. I know you told me not to, but I can address it better than you can. And this is my bishop. Will, tell Bishop what you do.
Basically, I try to do a little bit of everything. I try to help wherever I can.
Okay.
I'm involved a lot in the local politics. You know, I help with campaigns.
Okay.
I also work with a pretrial intervention program to try to help people put their lives back together.
Okay.
And move forward past some of the sticky situations that they find themselves in. A lot of what I do comes from how I grew up. I grew up in an old school neighborhood where people looked out for each other.
Right.
And they instilled those qualities in me, and I try to just give back to the people who saw whatever they saw in me and try to, you know, pay that forward.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching Care to Share. I want to thank Will Smith. This is the real Will Smith. Just to let y'all know, the one that's doing the movies, he's that one, and this is the one from Douglasville. And this is my bishop. Thank you for watching Care to Share. You have a blessed evening. You have a blessed weekend. And we hope to see you next Friday. We hope to have more in the audience. We want to have a lot of questions that come up. And there are some children I know that want to ask. I think I have a friend over. You have a question before we go up there, baby? You have a question? No? Okay, we'll catch it on the next time around. Thank you for watching Care to Share. Have a good night. Have a blessed evening. God bless.